So for my short documentary, I wanted to stay on the mental health train. I feel like it's a topic that can never expire. There's a lot of things to cover. There's a huge stigma still surrounding it. And one of the huge issues that I myself have dealt with and peers and just is the amount of um, understanding that people give towards people with um, mental health issues. It just isn't as much as it should be. It's hard for people who don't experience mental health to understand someone suffering mental health. Um, I myself have had family issues, very trying times, along with a lot of my friends. It's kind of a similar story, especially with connecting the of two ideas of this generation and previous generations. It wasn't very talked about previously, or it's very stigmatized. So I thought with short documentaries, it's very style over substance. So there's not a lot of interviews and you don't have a lot of time to kind of create a huge storyline and give you the background and the past, future, and present, you know what I mean? Kind of vibe that most documentaries create. So style meets substance is my goal for this short documentary. As I mentioned, Chloe Shepherd and Avon Curtis are my two inspiration people. Chloe Shepherd is someone who works with a lot of 16mm vintage films, which I just adore, and I feel like that is the perfect aesthetic for this topic. Something that is able to create a sort of melancholia aesthetic. I want to work with a lot of nature shots and beaches, and she has a lot of short films or short clips that she creates, and I've linked in my pitch that just kind of express what I want to achieve. Like, I want to work with creating a perspective, in the head of someone who deals with it. So the plan is to interview someone and recreate that feeling through film, images, and sound. Get my sister or myself or a friend to act that out, but it's mostly going to be a lot of nature, picturesque, raw kind of vibe, and just understanding mental health is the goal, and to create something that educates people and makes people understand the perspective of the person dealing with it, instead of, there's a lot of focus on like, oh, I don't understand it, or like, I feel that a lot of the stigma comes from the inability for certain individuals to understand and grasp what is going on. So I don't have a lot of equipment that I like. I'm not one of those hoarder of and collectors of film. I like to be behind things, but I have an Olympus that I mentioned in my pitch that I am going to film on. The goal is to film later in the winter days when it's raining and go to Grand Pacific Drive, and and just go to the beaches there and up in the mountains and natures and get some clips of the story that one of my friends is telling me that would send off this aesthetic, and edit it together. I use iMovie, So I think the goal is to improve my skills on Premiere and use this time between this pitch and the final assignment to just catch myself up on some skills that I can use to probably edit it. I've downloaded the voice to make it better on my phone because I don't have a microphone or anything, and I used that for my previous one when I interviewed my nan on the first assignment, and that worked well. I could edit the sound, and I want to add in nature sounds and sounds that might like static or kind of hollow sounds that I can think of to help kind of reflect the story that this person's telling us about how they're feeling. And so the goal is to just create something through the eyes and the perspective that's more that style based, but I don't want it to be style over substance. I want it to be style and substance. So it's just about finding a balance between those two without overpowering one or the other and getting my point across. And yeah.